Hello for the 7th week in Ordinary Time. Really, this homily is a continuation, in a sense, from last week. Because last week, Matthew presents Jesus Christ on the side of the hill, or the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus gives 6 different, you have heard, but I say. Well, today's gospel is the last 2. You can look up last week's if you like. It's from Matthew 5:38 to 48 this week. And in that, this week is the last 2. Jesus says, you have heard an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, and then the last one, you have heard, love your neighbors and hate your enemies. But I say, Jesus is giving some perfect pie-in-the-sky recommendations, commands, analysis. He gives us the perfect answer, really. And then he winds up those 6 in today's gospel by saying, so be perfect just as your heavenly Father is perfect. That's why. Let me give you one example. A few years back, many years back, I'd say 12 years back, I got into sort of an argument with a Jesuit friend of mine. He was a well-known author, and he was given a talk, and he came upon this very passage in his talk, and he said Jesus really didn't mean what he said. To be perfect as my Heavenly Father is perfect. And I went up to him afterward and I says, I think Jesus did mean exactly that. Even though we will never become that or ascertain that. We never become perfect. But we've been made in the image and likeness of God, and so Jesus said, be like my Heavenly Father. Or your Heavenly Father. And that was the gist of it. Let me give you an example from that first one, dealing about, people asking you for something. And Jesus, in a sense, says, well, always give. Well, take this. Often, I go to the Y to do a little exercise. And on my way down the Y, I go down from Viley Road down to Maxwell. And right on the corner of Maxwell and Broadway, at that busy intersection, and long light, almost every day there is a beggar. And so when you stop for the red light, the beggar's got his chance, and so do you. Homeless, help, God bless you. Many times I see that and feel squeamish because of this reading, because of Jesus' statements. And a few times I've given money, but most of the time I certainly have not. How should I feel? What should I do? Every time, should I get into my wallet, pick out a $5 bill, and give it to the homeless guy? There's a different guy there every day. Well, I don't. I don't know about you. I don't. I can write out a check of $1,000 to the Catholic Action Center, or to Pax Christi, or to the Newman Center Foundation, sort of my 3 favorite charities. And I feel good about that. But I don't feel good when I pass up the guy for $5. Last week I went to Benedictus bookshop to buy a clerical shirt like the one I'm wearing today. They're $50-some. And I got out of there, and a beggar comes riding up on a bicycle right in front of the Chinese restaurant there, and says he's hungry. Could I give him a few bucks? And I did. And when I was giving him the few bucks, the owner of the restaurant, or the chef, was looking out the window at me giving him a few bucks. I give him a few bucks, and he runs in there and he gets a couple egg rolls. I felt pretty good. But most of the time, I don't just keep dishing out $5 bills or bills. Do you? How do you feel? The Sermon on the Mount message of Jesus was, give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on the one who wants to borrow. Perfect answer. I don't do it. This may apply to other people, but I'll bet you most of you people watching or listening to this, or most of the people in the pew, have had many similar experiences. Jesus gives a perfect answer. And I think, not to make us feel guilty, but to have a healthy tension. To give often, give sometimes, give a small amount, give a large amount, and to stretch us to be perfect as His Heavenly Father is perfect. Even wilder statement is the last one, and that is, you have heard, love your neighbors and hate your enemies. Well, hate your enemies? Jesus said just the opposite. He gives the perfect answer. Love your enemies. Oh, that applies to the United States, Russia, the Iranians, and the Syrians, and so forth. No, it applies to you and to me. We have people that bug us, don't like us, not fair to us. Maybe not killing enemies, but enemies in feeling and thought, and I would like to. Jesus gives the perfect answer. Love your enemies. It's very difficult. I think the only explanation I have is God made the good and the bad. God made all of us because He loves us. God always forgives us because He loves us, the good and the bad. And we've been created in the image and likeness of God. So, I think that's why Jesus said, hey, you've been created in the image and likeness of God. My Father, our Father, will act like it. Do it. Not to feel guilty if you don't, but to do it because that's the real reason why you have been made. And if you do it and act like it, you'll be happy. You'll be a good person. Have a good day.